I did not know how much I needed the, twin tails of Chinatsu in my life. Like, that right there, that was beautiful. Very beautiful. Like, I'm not usually a big fan of twin tails, but I don't know, just something about the twin tails of Chinatsu, it's beautiful. Very beautiful. Like, I like that. I was actually very sad that wasn't a permanent design. Very sad about that. But, anyways, this episode of Welcome to the Ballroom reaches a breaking point. And what I mean is Chinatsu and Tatra have a pretty big fight. And it's not like a typical fight. It's a fight that will determine what path they must take for their partnership. Now, I don't believe this is enough to break them up completely. Maybe they might separate for a bit, but I don't believe this is enough to where they're never going to be partners again. I doubt that. But the big thing is whatever's going to happen, obviously it's going to lead into some very crucial development, either character regression or character development. Regardless, it's going to be very big, very important for these two characters. And the reason for it is because they're trying to have unity. They're trying to be able to work together and dance together and also be a proper follow and a proper lead. And in this case, we know both of them are very bad at both of the roles that they're doing. For instance, Chinatsu, she's a very bad follow. Tatra, he's a very bad lead, but they're both trying to learn. And Tatra has shown that he's trying really hard to better himself and become a better lead. He's put a lot of thought into it. We've seen that he's constantly been thinking about it, trying to improve himself. And this episode showed many times that he was constantly thinking that he needs to improve himself. And you can even say in some cases he lacked a lot of confidence within himself, which is kind of a negative. This is something that he needs to work out and improve, because it is clear as day that he does lack confidence. Like, he lacks confidence in his own ability, which makes sense why. If you go on a losing streak, or if you realize that you're just bad at the game, you start to lack confidence, and then, in turn, even if you were bad, okay, and if you start lacking confidence in yourself, it makes you even worse. It makes it to where, even if you become better, you don't think you're better, and then it just, overall, you're not as good as you once were. And in turn, you can regress as, you know, a person or a character, whatever. You can regress because you lack confidence. In this case, we see multiple points throughout the episode to where he lacks confidence. But at the same time, no, it's understandable. But then you have someone like Chinatsu, which believes that she is perfect. And in a case like this, it's like both of these characters, once again, they're the exact opposite of each other. Tatra is a character that lacks confidence. Chinatsu is a character that has all the confidence in the world. She has maximum amount of confidence. But because of that, they both are incredibly flawed. Like what I just said for Tatra, Fujita, and how he lacks confidence, and that is causing him to not perform properly, Chinatsu is someone that has a lot of confidence, and that also is making her perform not as well as well. And what I'm stating is that when Tatra, in this episode, he's trying to ask Chinatsu, basically, hey, you know, let's try to work out our problems, all that, and he was basically point-blank saying that it's obvious that he's already got everything, he's caught on, but he's not fully coming out and blaming her for it. He's just trying to help her out and teach her or whatever. In that moment, Chinatsu is starting to realize that at this point in time, she is actually the one that is falling behind and the one that is not as good as Fujita. She is nowhere near as good as him in this very moment. At the very least, Fujita is trying to learn to be a better lead. He's taking the time. He's trying to realize that he needs to improve, and he's just taking many steps for this. And you have it toward Chinatsu, she's so prideful and all that, she's not considering that she could also be a problem as well. She is someone that's not considering that she could be a fault, a big fault to why they're not working whatsoever. And in this case, when Tatra, or Fujita, he's learning how to do like the certain, you know, variations and stuff, and he's succeeding and doing good at it, you have it to where Chinatsu, she is failing at it. She's not being able to do good, and which in turn is just like a complete kick to her confidence. It kicks her pride, and that is why she got very upset at the end of this episode. It wasn't the fact that they just are not working together properly. It was the fact that she got upset. She was extremely upset because she realizes that Tatra is someone that is just so nice, so compassionate, that he's not wanting to blame her whatsoever. But at the same time, the more he tries to act like that, the more she feels like she is at fault. And so when she actually sees the situation where she is the one holding him back, she just got angry, and then she lashed out, and then when she realized what she did, she's like, I'm sorry. So that basically explains the situation. Why she apologized was because it obviously wasn't entirely Tatara's fault, or at the very least, at this point in time, what they were doing right then and there, it wasn't his fault. It was actually her, and that just shattered her confidence. It shattered it to where she realized that she needs to improve on that aspect of her personality. So once again, I just want to point out that opposites do attract, and that is what we see happening here. We have it to where Chinatsu is fire, while you have it to where Fujita, he is someone that's a very calm, mellow stream, and they're the exact opposite. But now that they're, working together, they're starting to see their own flaws and their own problems with each other and realize what each other lack. They both need to take from each other, but they also need to learn from each other. And that right there just shows how these are a perfect couple. They're the perfect pair for each other, especially how they're going to learn from this. So anyways, let's talk about the situation with the tournament. So I was very surprised with how fast this episode was. I was actually extremely surprised with the pacing. I guess the second half of the show is really trying to make up for the slow first half, because one of the biggest problems that the series had when, the first half was, airing, was that it felt very slow, and that competition and all that. Many were like, okay, this is just too slow, it feels like not much is really going on. I mean, we're having progression, but just something about it just didn't feel that fast whatsoever. And so I'm really glad to see the pacing is speeding up a bit, but I hope it doesn't reach to the point where it's too fast and we turn into like an anime original series. I really hope it does not do that. But anyways, you have it to where the tournament that they, partake in, it goes surprisingly well. I mean, they lost, obviously. They backed out, withdrawed, and all that, but it went really well. Surprisingly well. In this case, Fujita learned something. He learned that when they're in perfect unity, it feels like he has another pair of legs attached to him, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're working with someone, you're dancing with someone, and you're able to be in, like, a flow with them. You're able to flow, like, through water or whatever, under the water, and you feel like, they're, dancing with you properly, then obviously it's going to feel like an extra pair of legs. It's going to feel like they're able to support half of you, because when you're putting your weight down and you're leaning and stuff or whatever, doing your dance, obviously they're going to have to support half your weight as well. And so that's basically what that was showcasing that it wasn't just trying to be cool because it's anime or manga, but because this is how it most likely would feel if you are a dancer. It would feel like you have an extra pair of legs, an attachment or an extension to your body if you're dancing properly and you're compatible entirely. And so that's what happened here. And so he learned something. Fujita learned something about dancing. He learned that if they can become perfectly in sync, then they will be able to be like an extra pair of legs for each other, and they will be able to move properly without having any friction or force with each other, and anything going back and pressing up against each other, it will work out properly. But then, as well, even though they withdrawed and they lost, in a way, they actually won the first round. They would have been able to carry on and go to the second round, which automatically means that they are of a B rank type dancers. Now, I don't know how I feel about that overall, because I really liked how the series was slowly working them up the ranks to get them to a certain point, but at the same time, I guess from a story perspective and all that, if they were stuck in the bottom for a very long time, people would probably lose interest. And so, I understand from a writer's perspective, it's just upsetting because I didn't want to see Fujita and Chinatsu reach the top like that. And it seems like they're now going to be participating in A-rank dances, which it's way higher than normal, and I don't know if, Fujita is really at that level or not, so we'll see where it goes. But that's about it when it comes to this episode, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I mean, how do you feel about, the latest episode? How do you feel about the fight to the dispute and all that, the training camp and all of it? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. If you love my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. So I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.